So before we begin this video, I want to make up for an oversight on my part. In the last Mario video, I discussed Super Mario The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, without verbally mentioning the painstaking work that Kaneko Video and others put in to restore this VHS to 4K. Without their work, I wouldn't have been able to give such high quality images and videos. So I want to give a few seconds to shout them out for their incredible contributions to restoring this tape. And I'll share a whole link to that movie on their channel in the description below, so please go check that out if you have a chance. And now onto the video.
Nintendo.
Princess Peach, the princess in another castle, the driving force behind many of Mario's adventures, first appearing in Super Mario Bros. Releasing for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1983. She'd be introduced as the kidnapped princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, who Mario must save so she can properly restore the damage done by Bowser and his minions during their hostile takeover. Now, before we continue, I know some of my casual gamers out there might be thinking about the original damsel in distress that we see in Donkey Kong at the top of the construction site. So for those unfamiliar with the early stages of the series, this character is named Pauline, originally dubbed Mario's girlfriend during the events of Donkey Kong. So while I'm sure this particular character later inspired the creation of Princess Peach to a certain degree, they're totally separate, and Pauline herself had quite the reintroduction as mayor of New Donk City in 2017's Super Mario Odyssey. And wow, look at that, it's already been 5 years since this game came out. Sheesh. Anyway, I have a full breakdown of Mario's origins on the channel already if you'd like to hear more about her. So with that out of the way, what are the origins of Princess Peach? Well, not much backstory is given on Peach here in the original Super Mario Bros. There's surprisingly a decent amount of story given within the instructions booklet for the game, detailing the takeover of the peaceful kingdom of mushroom people by the invading Koopa tribe. So everyone is turned into bricks and stones, which only Princess Peach herself can reverse. But the problem here is that she's kidnapped by Bowser and tucked away in a castle that Mario and Luigi struggle to find the entire game. This is all pretty straightforward, but there is one detail from the instructions booklet for this game that has thoroughly piqued my interest. Mushroom King. Who is this man, and why have we never seen his face in the games before?
Some business came up I gotta handle, so we're gonna have to put our trip on hold.
So more specifically, in the English translation of the Super Mario Bros. Plot, it refers to Peach as the daughter of the Mushroom King, though this king is not mentioned at all in the original Japanese text. But with that said, Peach does have a father that was referenced in a few different types of media before Nintendo completely wiped the presence of Peach's family from existence. Aside from the English manual, he'd also be referenced in the 1987 official Nintendo Player's Guide, with the plot summary for Super Mario Bros. Describing the Mushroom Kingdom as a peaceful kingdom ruled by a good king and queen. Another guide that was licensed by Nintendo called How to Win at Super Mario Bros. Not only references the Mushroom King, but also has a picture of him beside the story. He'd also be featured in the Nintendo Comics System series published by Valiant Comics in the early 1990s, which features various comic strips of different Nintendo series like Mario and The Legend of Zelda. I guess a lot of these auxiliary books assume that there would be a king or queen ruling over, the Mushroom Kingdom.
Man, shut your
There was even some speculation for a while that Toadsworth, Peach's trusted advisor introduced in Super Mario Sunshine, was her relative. At one point, the Super Mario Sunshine and Mario and Luigi Partners in Time website stated that he was Peach's father. But this contradicts what's been stated in the games, with Toadsworth being just her subordinate. Speaking of which, I haven't seen Toadsworth in a while. I think maybe Nintendo may have killed him off in Bowser's last attack on the Mushroom Kingdom. Anyway, within the games themselves, we'll say that King Toadstool is either long dead or just never existed until Nintendo says otherwise. Despite the status of the Mushroom Monarchy here, we'll return to Super Mario Bros., where Mario and Luigi manage to track down Bowser and end his war campaign, saving Princess Peach in the process, which makes the two the official heroes of the Mushroom Kingdom from that point on. So with that established as the plot, let's take a step back here and see what Miyamoto was thinking when he designed this iconic princess.
Hold on.
Peach's design was drafted by Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario himself, with some help in part by Yoichi Kotabe, the former primary artist of the Mario series at Nintendo. You can thank Kotabe-san for the finalized designs of Peach, Mario, and Bowser, and personally, I think this style is some of the best artwork for the series up to this point. Her original design is more or less intact to this day, her hair being blonde in color while sporting the iconic pink dress. And many limitations on the NES forced Nintendo to make a few concessions with her color scheme in the final product, with her hair appearing reddish brown and dress white with red trimmings. Now, for my Sonic fans, this next part might actually sound familiar to you if you've ever been involved in the Robotnik versus Eggman debate.
I'm gonna be on TV!
In Japan, Princess Peach was in fact her name from the very beginning. But in the West, she would be localized as Princess Toadstool by Nintendo of America to keep her more in tune with the theme of the Mushroom Kingdom. This would later be changed in Super Mario 64 to match her Japanese name, and we've referred to her as Peach to this day. So with that said, I haven't heard many complaints regarding this change growing up, but you all can tell me in the comments below why some fans still can't accept the name Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Robotnik!
Nobody calls me that anymore.
Hopefully I didn't incite a war down there. So with Peach becoming the official damsel in distress for the majority of the Mario series, she would be solidified as one of the major characters in the franchise, going on to become a playable character in the US release of Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. Even though this game is a reskinned version of a game only released in Japan at the time known as Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, this title would be very influential in fleshing out Princess Peach's abilities. We would see examples of this in future Mario games where she can magically float for a few seconds to traverse obstacles, or in the Super Smash Bros. Titles where she can pull out items from the ground to throw at her opponents. We wouldn't see her playable in a traditional Mario game again until her appearance in Super Mario 3D World. But let's not forget about all the spin-offs that gave Princess Peach some additional character. While I'd argue that Super Mario RPG was the first game to give Princess Peach some more personality than the games that came before it, I think Paper Mario deserves the credit for evolving Peach into a more independent and assertive character.
It's been a long time since we saw my man Mario in an RPG, but he's back in style. They're calling this one Paper Mario for obvious reasons. Toonami gives Paper Mario for the N64 9 out of 10.
Paper Mario was first released for the Nintendo 64 in Japan in the year 2000 and 2001 in the West, and this game served as more of a story-driven experience for Mario fans, returning to the role-playing characteristics of Super Mario RPG, and essentially serving as a spiritual successor and sequel for that classic Super Nintendo game. Princess Peach is still kidnapped by Bowser at the beginning of the game, but in a nice twist, the game gives the player control over Peach as she attempts to escape captivity within his castle, which not only serves as great character development for her, but a nice break between the action from Mario's perspective between chapters. These interludes with Peach have her befriending a star kid named Twink,
sensational,
who will help her communicate with Mario in the meantime. She'll even fight and defeat Kammy Koopa at the end of the game while Mario's taking on Bowser. I believe this to be one of the first times we see Peach offered some of the spotlight, and though you could argue Paper Mario is more of a spin-off to the traditional Mario games and characters, this was definitely a welcome change to the formula when it was released. Not to mention they would continue to involve Peach similarly in the sequel, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, and following that they would include her as a completely playable character in Super Paper Mario. It wouldn't be long before Princess Peach got her own game altogether, with Nintendo releasing Super Princess Peach for the Nintendo DS in October of 2005 in Japan and February 2006 in the West. But before I get into that, technically this wasn't the first Mario game to star Peach as the only playable character. McDonald's was way ahead of the game back in 1990 with their scratch cards.
It's Mario! Look, Ronald! Mario's mystery block makes him big!
LCD Game Watches promoting the release of Super Mario World were one of the prizes. There were 3 different watches, each with a different game: Mario's Egg Catch, Luigi's Hammer Toss, and Princess Toadstool's Castle Run. This was basically Temple Run before Temple Run. So next time someone says that Peach hasn't started her own game aside from Super Princess Peach, show them your enlightenment and preach the gospel of Princess Toadstool's Castle Run. Anyway, Super Princess Peach switched up the Mario formula a little bit, with Bowser kidnapping Mario, Luigi, and the Toads. And in Peach's defense, by the way, Mario gets kidnapped quite a bit too. So with all the usual heroes in Bowser's clutches on Vibe Island, where he builds a summer getaway home, Princess Peach steps up to the plate to get her friends back, while Toadsworth gives her a talking parasol named Perry to assist her on her adventure. This game has mechanics built around emotions, with Bowser using something called a Vibe Scepter.
Oh my god, what is that, a dildo?
That allows him to influence the emotions of his army. With this in mind, Peach has 4 different vibes she can use that will trigger abilities to help her on her journey. For example, if the player uses Joy, Peach's happiness will allow her to float and reach obstacles that are hard to reach. Also, Perry, that talking umbrella boy I told you about. He used to be a real boy with magical powers living with some old man before getting zapped into his umbrella form by some hating magicians. Pinocchio, is that you?
Everything is new to me.
You, stand back. Don't come near me.
He manages to wiggle out of their captivity and was found by a traveling merchant that sold him to Toadsworth. And I have to wonder what he was doing with Perry before he handed him over to Princess Peach. Anyway, Peach manages to track down Bowser, and together with Perry she defeats him and ousts him from his own villa, freeing Mario in the process. And as for Perry, if you thought they found some way to transform him back into a human, nah, that wasn't Mario and the gang's priority here. Back in the cage for you, Perry. On a more serious note, this is one of the few Nintendo games I couldn't find many development notes on. I would have loved to have been able to pin down exactly what the thought process was behind this game, but here's my guess. The Nintendo DS itself. The DS is one of the best-selling handheld systems of all time, and with its stylus-based hardware, it made games more accessible to a wider audience, especially casual gamers. I'm sure this mindset is also what made the Nintendo Wii so successful. Nintendo reported that 44% of DS owners were female, so I imagine Super Princess Peach was an attempt to move software for the younger female demographic. And it worked. The game sold 1.15 million copies worldwide, putting it in the top 50 best-selling DS games. But this game wouldn't be the first time Peach takes matters into her own hands though. Let's switch it up to Super Mario Adventures, a set of comics that were published within Nintendo Power from January to December 1992. Though it's loosely based on Super Mario World, this comic takes quite a few liberties with the Mario characters, and builds its own original plot. Mario and Luigi are plumbers in the peaceful Mushroom Kingdom before Bowser and his minions pull up to ask for Peach's hand in marriage. He threatens to turn all her people into stone if she refuses, and even turns Mario into stone to prove his point. Enraged, Princess Peach fights her way to Bowser's castle to attempt a negotiation with him, but at the tail end of her journey, she is captured. This brings Mario and Luigi into action, but this comic series is a little different, because just because she's captured, doesn't mean Peach is out of the fight. She actually tricks the Koopalings into thinking she escaped her cell and drops down from the ceiling, which knocks them out cold. Wendy and several guards try to stop her, but Peach manages to get to Wendy's room and she fucking scraps. She throws furniture at the guards and threatens Wendy by saying she'll shred her favorite dress. But her escape's not done here. She grabs a cape and falls through the window and manages to fly to safety. Unfortunately, Mario is captured during his attempt to save Peach. So what does she do? She goes back to the tower with a ton of bombs and threatens to blow up the entire building if they don't free Mario. This is the OG badass Peach. Personally, I think this series deserves a read, and I wouldn't be too surprised if there was some inspiration taken from this comic for the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie. Speaking of which, this movie seems to be switching up the formula as well, with Luigi serving as the character that needs to be saved, while Peach will become a wartime princess, coaching Mario on the ways of the Mushroom Kingdom before they bring the fight to Bowser. When the time comes, I'm definitely open to revisiting the movie versions of all these characters so we get an idea of what exactly has changed. But that will do it for this particular video, so leave a comment below if I missed any cool versions of Princess Peach or facts regarding her character. I hope you all are enjoying my Origin Oracle series, and until next time, be safe. And of course, happy holidays. The Prophet has spoken.